Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about the Umbrella Academy Season 1, Episode 5. It's called Number 5. I see what you did there, Netflix.
I don't blame them.
I see what you did. But yeah, so this is going to be the episode. Full spoilers for the episode as always. So naturally, a bit of focus on Number 5. Although, again, these have been kind of weird in the sense that they kind of start off focused on a character, but then after the first 10 minutes, they kind of just veer into
Back
everyone.
into just
Yeah.
an episode. Yeah, I felt that last episode as well, where it was like, oh, Man on the Moon. Okay, I guess it's the Luther episode, and I mean, not really.
Nah, it's the intro's his, but that's a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, Number 5 probably has the most dramatic thing that happens by the end of the episode as well, and it makes us deal. Do you know what I think's really weird about this episode? And not weird in a bad way, just weird in a sense that of thinking about it in context of TV shows. Is that this actually did feel kind of like a mid-season finale in a lot of ways? Because obviously we're halfway through with Number 5.
You can see them taking a break for a few weeks after this one.
You can. Like, it has a couple of cliffhangers, it has some new revelations. It feels like the end of Act 1.
Is this the first time that we felt a Netflix show genuinely had a mid-season episode? I don't remember ever feeling that before.
Well, it depends. Are we counting ones that were split in half?
No. I'm counting actually in the middle of the season that they released. That Sabrina doesn't count, if that's what you're thinking.
Not to my memory.
No, I don't remember any. I don't remember ever feeling like that.
I feel like there's been times where it's maybe gotten close, like, and I've said, oh, I can kind of see this is kind of the halfway point of the story kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this one actually felt like, no, if this was like airing on TV and they said, no, there's a month break before the next episode, or this is like before Christmas and then we're back in like a month and a half, this would have felt like a natural episode to do that with.
It would have, yeah.
But we're going to be watching the next one, day after tomorrow, so look forward to it.
It makes no difference to us, but worth noting.
Yeah, it was interesting because I really had that feeling.
Mm.
So yeah, we see Number 5, and we see him in the future, and we're introduced to the corrections department of the commission, and the woman who comes and recruits them all, I'm forgetting her title.
I can't remember it.
You've read the comic, damn it.
Yeah, but I can't remember her title. She's insignificant.
This is what you're here for. The conductor.
Look, I have.
Oh, that's not her. That's
no, she's
else.
not the conductor. That's the conductor in the orchestra.
Yes, it was something like that though. It was this something. It wasn't.
Yeah. You threw me then, because the conductor is definitely a thing. No, I don't recall the name.
Oh, it's just the recruiter, I think. It's just the commission recruiter.
All right, fine. It's boring.
Yeah. But I definitely remembered them saying it like the recruiter as if it was a thing. Although the credits here on IMDb seem to kind of imply it was just more of a, like, that's what you would call her, because that's all what she is. But
yeah, more of a title.
It felt more like the title though when he said it.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like a title, whereas they're just, oh, it's an adjective, right? Oh, she's just the recruiter. It's fine.
But so we see her offer him a job. We see that he's grown to middle-aged in the future. He's barely surviving, and she offers him this job. Work for 5 years, kill some people. Anyone who's going to change the timeline in a way that they don't want, because even he quite rightly asks, "Wait, you want everything to end?" And she's like, no, not everything ended, but some stuff ended. So obviously my natural thing here, and I was kind of thinking this before as well, when it seemed we got the impression from Cha-Cha and Hazel that they did want to help, or they wanted to stop Number 5 from stopping the end of the world.
They did, but it doesn't feel like all villainous, like, oh, we want to end the world. It feels, the way she says it's not. No, this is just what's supposed to happen. We're keeping the timeline, right?
Oh no, there's more to it than that. No, I disagree with you.
Okay.
There's an ulterior motive. When she says some things ended, I want to know what didn't. What like if they don't care about the rest of the world going to shit, what are they preserving that they're okay with? That they see as either acceptable or preferable to what's happening here.
Fair enough.
I was getting some serious Rittenhouse vibes from all this, because it doesn't even sound like they're stopping people. Like, in fact, it doesn't sound like, but we know for a fact they're just killing essentially innocent people who might just sway history one way or the other. It's not like there's other people travelling through time who are trying to affect things and, who are not supposed to be changing history. It's not like people from the future are doing time crimes, essentially, and they're, like, stopping them. These are just things that are happening naturally that will alter the course of history. Therefore, they should alter the course of history. So this argument that this was supposed to happen, but all these things in the past we have to ensure don't happen so that it does happen, means that it wasn't really supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You're a hypocritical bitch, is what I'm saying.
It's kind of both in the way that she says it, right? Because it's like, no, this is supposed to happen, but also people have free will and things change. But this is what, this is this is the prime timeline. So, okay, this is the one we'll preserve.
Nah, I don't believe her.
All right,
I don't trust
fair
her.
enough.
Motives. There's motives.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but there's motives.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that's how it comes across for a lot.
I'm seeing through her shite. But yeah, so we have this, and then you know what? I joked a couple episodes ago that number 5 somehow murdered JFK. Now, he was going to.
Well, was he?
Or arguably he was going to stop the actual killer.
Because it's very notable that the gunshot still goes off when he leaves.
See, this is where I read this. Admittedly, we've not seen any evidence of it. However, we know from Cha-Cha and Hazel that they often have partners. I was under the assumption that this other gunshot that did go off was actually whoever his partner was.
Okay, I can see that.
But plus, they've got time travel. If they look and see, oh hey, JFK never got assassinated. Oh, send
someone else.
Yeah, send someone else.
That's fair.
There's ways where it might not necessarily be that.
There is. I'm just presenting that you could read this in either direction.
You could. I guess my question would be, if he was supposed to stop the assassin, then why wouldn't they just send someone else? Because they're time travelers.
We don't know what the rules are. There might be things that stop them doing that.
Okay.
No, genuinely, I genuinely don't know what the exact rules are with these briefcases. There could be things that stop them, doing this.
Okay.
Might be a case of you get one shot.
2 in this case.
Yeah, all right.
So
that was really not intentional.
So yeah, so he's telling Luther this, and Diego ends up hearing some of it. Now I'm actually really glad that Luther stuck around and asked more questions, because when Diego came in and demanded to know who these people are, it's like, they work for my former employer. Diego just kind of storms out ready to hunt them down, and I was like, no, Diego, you're frustrating me here. Ask for more information. That was still really vague. Work for who? What was their job? What did they do? What's their skill set?
Diego's a hothead and doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to kill them.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. It felt like up until this point, up until Luther, everyone's been letting Five away with this, where no one's really asking things when he says something vague. So this stuck out to me as the most egregious in a long line of not asking him things.
I would generally agree, except Diego's headspace right now is the most justifiable to just storm out. Sure.
But I was really happy that Luther stuck around and
and
insisted on getting some goddamn answers, which he did get. And Five's worked out. There's 3 people or 5 people, whatever it was, four, whatever in between.
Yeah.
The number's really not that important.
It's not. No.
If he kills these random 4 people, who seem random, it will somehow stop the apocalypse because of the butterfly effect.
Yeah, it's a probability thing. It's not even guaranteed that it'll stop them. It's just this has the best chance of preventing it.
Yeah, and Luther's like, wait a minute, these are innocent people. These shouldn't be killing us.
The first name is he reads it and goes, oh, they're terrorists. So he's like, I'm pretty sure he's a gardener.
Yeah, and then, and later on, I did like that number 5 felt the need to tell Luther that he didn't like that he was killing people all these years, but
yeah, and I really liked that. The question, the morality, where Five's like, look, it's not just black and white. It's not just there's good guys and bad guys. There's no. I'm killing one person or 4 people here to save everyone. As far as he's concerned, he's doing the right thing, genuinely.
Yeah, although you're kind of mixing up his explanation, because that explanation was kind of separate from that final point. Because the final point was, yes, these people are going to die in a few days anyway. So if it's going to save everyone, then what's the wrong thing? That argument's fine. I understand that part.
Yeah.
Before then, when he just kind of generally says it's not good guys and bad guys, it's just people living their lives. That was just kind of murky, textbook character dialogue to me.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, anyone can write a character. Any character who has to justify bad shit they do. That is the line you put in their mouths.
It is, it is. I think in context of the entire conversation, though, it was all right. If that had been the only line, I'd be agreeing with you.
But yeah, so they go off, and then it's like, so Klaus is back. He appears on the bus, and it's only the next day to us, but he's clearly been gone in some time. He's wearing different clothes. He's got bloody knuckles. Do you know what? I noticed the tattoo in his arm, but I mean, I didn't really notice his arm enough before to know if that was a new tattoo.
Did you? Yeah, you could tell. He was wearing the dog tags now, though.
Yeah. And he shows up, and he's being all, you know, he smashes the time device immediately. Like, he gets off the bus and just smashes it across the ground, and then like basically kisses the floor, and he goes back to the house, and you know, 5 recognizes what he's going through. He knows the symptoms, so he's asking questions. And he doesn't say anything. And we actually hear another scene with Cha-Cha and Hazel. They get like a note saying unauthorized travel to 1968, and it's like, okay, 68. And then he walks into the veterans building, right, or the bar, and I'm like, okay, he was in Nam.
Yeah. Do you know, what's really interesting is this was a whole thing in the comics. The him being in Nam, and we really, we explored it in that time period.
We still might, to be honest.
We still might in flashbacks, yeah. But it's interesting that this is the way they're playing it here, because it's done differently.
Yeah, no, I liked it because it does that thing where he's in the bar, and obviously he gets into the fight with the actual vet. I mean, arguably he is an actual vet too. Is kind of the point, I suppose.
He clearly is at this stage. Yeah.
But you know what I mean, like the actual vet in the sense that the person who just did it naturally.
Timeline, yeah.
Yes. Because if anyone asks him what he did, it's kind of hard for him to explain he was in Nam, given that he's only 30 years old.
Yeah, I mean, there is a picture of him on the wall, but...
Yeah, they'll say that's his father or something like that.
They will, yeah.
That's what they'll do. But they'll because you see the photo at the end and he's next to the guy, and you knew it was going to be him. Like, you know exactly what this is doing. Like, the second he walks into that vet's, you see the name in the door, vets, from foreign wars or whatever. Like, you immediately get, okay, he ended up in a war. He was close to his troops. One person in particular he mentions. And it's like, okay. And it was making me wonder, actually. I was surprised they never brought up if he'd been clean for that, because he was away for almost a year in his time. Like, was he clean that year because he was in, like, a war? Like, to what extent?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I'd say he was probably clean from most of the drugs, but maybe not the booze.
Oh, sure. I meant the drugs more than the booze.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, it's the 60s.
That's just true. That's true. I thought that'd be an interesting thing to play with if he came back a very different person, because not only had he kind of grown up and been in a war, he had also been clean that time, so he comes back a very different person.
He might have been, but now we're seeing him with PTSD, and maybe that PTSD is presenting itself in similar ways to with the withdrawal symptoms he was going through at the end of last episode.
I think what's interesting about it, though, is that him being on a battlefield, given his power, I can't imagine is a quiet place to be.
That's got to be torturous, yeah.
So that's intriguing to me. But so 5 knows that he had the briefcase, but now knows it's destroyed. So he's got a plan to fake it and kind of pretend that he's got one to lure Cha-Cha and Hazel in, so he wants to talk to the recruiter. Yeah. So that's his whole plan. And we'll go...
Do you know why the recruiter feels like the wrong title to me? And no matter what IMDb is saying there, is that she's constantly referred to as their boss.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel like the title of a boss, the recruiter.
Yeah. She does say she's one small cog in a giant machine, though, which does feel a bit more recruitery.
It does.
We'll save that scene, though, because other plot lines lead up to it, because obviously...
They all converge, yes.
Klaus and Diego end up there as well, because Diego's with Klaus when he goes to the bar, helps him fight, and hears some of what he's going through. And, of course, he's just lost someone, so he kind of bonds over it a little bit.
Yeah, there's a nice touch where, he says to Klaus, like, hey, you've kind of got it easy. You lost someone, but with your power, you can see them anytime you want. It's an interesting way of putting it. And Klaus doesn't argue with that.
He doesn't argue. I wonder, though, if this is a sign of, like, other people not really understanding his power the way, like, I think for other people it's easy to dismiss it as, oh, you can speak to anyone who's dead. Like, for him, I imagine it's a bit more intricate than that, and maybe not as
possibly
pleasant. I mean, given his mindset most of the time, I feel like it's not that pleasant.
No, that's fair.
But yeah, and then we have the Vanya and Allison story with Leonard, And do you know what? There's a line at breakfast at the start where, you know, she says, "Oh, the first chair has not been shown up for rehearsals anymore," and I immediately went, "He's killed her." I just blurted it out. She's dead.
It's like, what did he do?
It's to be honest, at the end when we see a shot of her like in the attic wrapped in plastic, it's almost exactly what I had in my mind. Like she's just dumped somewhere. Like that was exactly what I had in my mind. He's a psycho man. But we may have gotten to see her powers in action this episode.
The visuals would imply so, wouldn't they?
But my only hesitation, I thought it was her power in the scene itself because she's not got her meds. She says she feels great. She goes to this audition for first chair, and it starts off pretty rough. The conductor's not really paying attention to her, doesn't care, and then we get this shimmering effect coming from the violin, like a force field or an energy. It's like a wave, and it hits them.
And he sits up.
And he sits up. They all sit up and lean forward, and are like they're enamored by it. And later on, she comes back to see Leonard. She's talking about how it felt like a guiding hand, like there was this out of body experience. And I'm like, okay, so her powers like related to like maybe like through music she can like
manipulate things,
or just like motivate, maybe it's not as specific as like she can maybe it's not like she can pick a mood. It's just like she can inspire people, right?
Yeah, it works.
My only hesitation, and I might still be right in everything else we've just said, but is that because it seemed to like leave and go back to the house at the end.
Yeah, it threw me off as well because you get this like ecstasy where obviously there's no music involved in this time, which was obviously the key factor during the audition scene. And then here it just kind of almost leads up to the victim, right?
It goes past her, though. It goes all the way back to the academy.
Yeah, that's true.
It floats through the city and goes back to the academy. And we end on Pogo, who's fixed mother, and he's like, "Oh, the kids can never know." And she's like, "Yes, I understand."
Yeah, a little bit of a cliched line.
Cliched line. Again, that was another thing. I mean, obviously the 5 scene was the big thing. I mean, it's like a mid-season, but even this little moment was like, "Hey, there's something Pogo's hiding from the kids."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, so that's the part that interests me is that it goes all the way back to the house, and it makes me wonder, like,
is it affecting them as well?
Well, not so much if it's affecting them. I wasn't even thinking about it in those terms. I was thinking because we see in the attic with the body is the book, Hargreaves' book.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if Hargrave actually did know she had a power and had figured it out, but had decided that it was too dangerous for her to use and lied to her about it and kept it contained.
Presumably gave her the drugs because she mentioned she's been on it since she was a teenager. So he would have been in charge of that at that point.
And him and Leonard finding the book is why he knows to try and unlock this. Why he wants to do that, what his motivation is beyond that is hard to say at this point. But
just because he's a slimy bastard.
It's possible. But I'm wondering if almost like her, like this extra life force that like guides her, like was locked in the mansion somewhere or something like.
Okay.
I don't know, like that. It goes back there because I don't know.
I'm with you. It's going home.
Yeah, like he had it contained somehow.
Okay.
But now she can call upon it, for whatever reason. But yeah, it leaves her when she starts having sex though. I think maybe that's notable as well.
Yeah, it could be.
Assuming it's from her. This is the other thing. Like, let's say it has nothing to do with her.
Is it him that's doing this?
Yeah. Is he
one of the other kids that
Well, yeah, because there was 40 odd, wasn't there? That was born that day.
I think it was 49 or something like that.
And he seems about the right age. So, like, is he doing this with his energy, and then he sent his energy to go and spy in the
do
mansion?
Something or other? Yeah.
I wonder if that's what's going on. I wonder if this is just a tease that she has the power, but really it's not her at all.
Yeah, I'm with you because I was thinking, it was like, is this him doing this? Because at this point, it's clear he has some significantly ulterior motives.
Yes,
and we don't have any concept of why or what his purpose is beyond just being evil.
And it's also worth mentioning that he's essentially been inspiring Vanya. I mean, we've not seen the evidence of the power itself, but that's essentially what he's been doing.
That is kind of what he's been doing. Yeah. He see, normally I'd say charismatic, but he isn't. But charming. No, I can't think of the right word to fit his delivery.
Honest and normal.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not
even that.
honest, but you know, it's coming
Yeah,
across as honest and
it
normal.
is. Yeah,
Except to Allison, who's looking him up in the newspaper
it's
and
like, hey, this dude's suspicious.
try to sneak into his house.
Yeah,
Which does, I mean, I do think she's jumping the gun a bit, even though we know she's right. This is the weird thing here, where I think she doesn't have enough to actually break into someone's house, but we know she's right. So it's like,
yeah. I think this is part of her upbringing, and then moving into the Hollywood, she's probably pretty paranoid as well.
yeah, yeah. I guess it's one of those things that people do in TV shows and movies where they'll break in somewhere for the plot, and I'm like, you know, for most people, driving us to the point where we'd willingly break into someone's home is a pretty severe
Yeah,
step to take.
I'll say, as it says in this episode, her life is built on rumors.
Mm.
So maybe she's more inclined to follow a rumor. Because that's kind of what this hunch is. It's kind of a rumor in a
Sure,
roundabout
you
way.
could put it that way.
Yeah.
That's the way to put it. Yeah. So interesting stuff there. Hazel's getting close to the waitress at the donut shop.
Yeah. I'm more convinced I was right last time when I said he's actually got a bit of a conscience, and he's not killing the victim. No, not the
sure,
victims.
yeah.
He's not killing the others intentionally, and he's going to get caught out this time.
Joe was funny to me is that when we were sitting outside together when she was having lunch, and she kept giving him this look, and she kept almost talking about sex, and then kind of catching herself, and
Yeah.
right. I was kind of thinking, like, is he actually romantically interested in her, or is he just like, does he just like her, and
Does he just want the donuts?
yeah, he just likes her as a friend, but she's taking this affection as, oh, this young man's barking
I'm
up
not
my
actually
granny
sure.
tree.
I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the scene. I laughed, when they're watching all the birds, and he's like, "So you just watch it? You don't ever shoot them or anything?" and she doesn't even react. She just laughs at it. It's like, no, I'll just watch him.
Yeah. So that was that. But yeah, so this all builds up. Diego, catches him in the act at the diner because he got that receipt from the shop, and then he sets up a plan, and he actually I think he tracks the car. He puts a tracker on the car, so he intends them on escaping. So it feels like his plan's going all right when they catch him really easily, but it's all kind of part of the plan. I mean, admittedly, part of his plan is not to get shot, but that does happen. You know,
It does. Klaus to the rescue.
Klaus to the rescue, who seems to know a bit more about what he's doing, probably because he spent some time in Nam.
Yeah, he's probably hearing the gunshots and sobering up, right?
And reacting.
It's all coming back to him.
So that's going on. But then, so they go off to meet number 5 and Luther because they want the briefcase back. And 5's like, I want to speak to the boss. And I actually laughed really hard. I love that. So they steal the ice cream van, do Klaus and Luther, because their tires get slashed. And it comes in, and it's an ice cream van, music, it's the klaxon kind of sound.
Yeah.
But it's playing Rise of the Valkyries, which, given that he was just in Nam, obviously you think of Apocalypse Now. I thought this was pretty funny.
It was. I just burst out laughing genuinely at this because it caught me off guard.
It was good. So when they show up, Cha-Cha and Hazel think it's a trap, and they all kind of react. They start shooting, and then time freezes, and I'm like, did number 5 just unlock his power because he got into a tense moment?
Yeah, we've never seen this before.
Exactly, but I could sort of buy it's an extension of his power if they said he was developing it. But no, it's the recruiter. She shows up, and she looks the exact same as she did in the future timeline, and she's like, okay, we don't actually want to kill you. Like we see a lot of great things in your future. You're very useful. Like we want to offer you a new job. We want to put you in the office, the home office. No traveling, no killing.
Management.
And she's like, I mean, what do you want? What are you trying to achieve? And it turns out that he is kind of being a little bit selfish here because it's not really about saving the world. It's just about saving his family. Okay. And he says, well, I want to save my family. And she's like, all of them? And he's like, yeah, all of them. He's like, well, we'll see what we can do. And, before he shakes her hand, he goes around and just, he moves the bullet that's heading towards Luther. He kicks the bad guy's gun away just to make sure.
Yeah, throws the bullets to the other side.
Yeah. So
I will say the way that she said all of them makes me feel like she knows something.
Yeah, either that there's one that he won't want to save if he knew the truth, or there's another family member that.
It could be. My inclination was that one of them, not necessarily directly, but inadvertently causes the apocalypse. So by saving them,
yeah,
It's what actually causes it.
Well, it's notable that Vanya was not in dead bodies, and if you go back to one of the things I said earlier about her power, is that if it was dangerous and the old man, contained it
Locked
for a
away.
reason,
Yeah.
is that what causes the apocalypse? Again, assuming it's her power, which I'm not convinced it is, given what happened at the end.
No, that's fair. And interesting though.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on. Yeah, so he disappears with her. He disappears.
I will say, you mentioned a second ago, oh, she's looking exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
It has only been like at most 4 or 5 years, because she offered him a 5-year contract, right?
Sure.
And he left before his contract was finished.
Well, yeah, if you think of time in a linear fashion from that point of view, but I mean, we saw her in the future.
Yeah. Well, she's time traveling.
I know that.
Yeah, but my point is...
That's my point.
Yeah, but my point is, why would she necessarily look that much older? It's only it's theoretically only a few years.
I'm not sure why you're arguing with me on that.
It seemed like a weird comment, her looking this... Of course she looks the same.
Yeah, but she's wearing the same clothes and everything. She looks identical.
That's a uniform.
Same shop.
Work clothes.
Shut up.
All right, fine. She's clearly a robot. She's clearly the advanced version of Mum.
I'm not gonna lie. When she first popped up in the future, I thought it was Mum.
Pretty similar looking, isn't she?
It's very similar look to her.
Which is why I said that kind of offhandedly joking, and I'm not sure I'm actually wrong.
So who knows? And Pogo is hiding something that the Mum knows. So we'll see. We'll see. Interesting episode. Very arguably the best one since the opener, I would say.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think this was a really good one. It had a lot of advancement on a lot of things. It felt focused in like 3 plots, mainly because again they were all paired. But it had a culmination element. It had some new spins on things. The number 5 plot has reached a point where it's shifted. It's tilted in its aim, because now he's made this deal. And now we have a different sort of angle to look at things from. So
and Klaus is clearly changed. Diego is going through stuff. It feels like, this is a really natural point to kind of pivot into the next area of whatever we're doing with the show.
So yeah, and I have to imagine that the Vanya plot will actually connect with the rest of it.
It has to. It's so separate right now compared to everyone else. So it has to come into play somewhere, somehow.
Well, either Leonard's motivations are connected to everything in some way, or her power, should she have it, and it is her power, is connected to what eventually destroys the world.
Yeah. There's got to be something that connects it. There just has to be.
Yeah, so don't trust Leonard. That's the lesson to learn.
Well, yeah, I've been feeling that since he showed up.
True, but I mean, he's straight up murdering people now, so...
Well, yeah.
But hey, so that is episode 5 of the Umbrella Academy. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, you can head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can support us over there for as little as $1 per month. Get some bonus shows, some exclusive things, some stuff early, all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, that's us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?